Welcome to Football Manager 2017 and my game currently with Wigan, now in the year 2035, as it's just turned into January. Between the last game and this game, the transfer window opened, so I have a new goalkeeper named Frank Smith, I think that's his name, and I've also changed the expectations. The board expectations have changed. So if it was battling against relegation, now I've agreed to aim for a mid-table position, and that gave me an extra 20,000 a week in the wage budget, as well as almost an additional 2 million for the transfer budget, which means I could put in a 750,000 pound bid for, I forget which club he is now. Oh, Swansea goalkeeper, I think he is, because that's what his release clause says, and they have to accept it. And he's even better goalkeeper than Frank Smith, who I just purchased for £250,000. Almost said dollars then. It's probably the same thing these days with the way the pound is going. However, before all that plays out, I've got a match against Brentford. Then following this match, in 5 days' time, I've got my FA Cup third round match against Portsmouth. But now I seem to have got over the worst of that slump, hopefully, with the team coming back to normal. I have Frank Smith in goal. Chamberlain's actually, his suspension didn't last long for a two-footed horror tackle, so he can go back in the team. And yes, it's Heaton's the other one that's out. Yes, Glenn Pete for his 10-game spell as an emergency goalkeeper who should never be needed to play, has got himself back on the bench. And Frank Smith is going straight into the team because I need somebody I've got a little bit of faith in back there. Harwood's getting uppity with me about his contract, which is due to expire, I think, at the end of the year. I'm not sure. I tried negotiating with Wedderburn for a new contract, and we are miles apart. I was trying to get the minimum fee release clause at least up a bit, and he was willing to agree to push it from what's currently 3.8 million to 8.25. But the other stuff he wanted, I couldn't match. He wanted more salary than I was capable of paying. He wanted all sorts of wonderful stuff. And yeah, his agent and I disagreed. So that didn't work out. However, apart from the goalkeeper and Chamberlain coming back, there you go. Frank, you can have the number 1 shirt. There's no real changes between this side and the side that in the second half of the last game decided they could actually go back to playing football again. So, what did it say Brentford were? 23rd. They're not as bad as Crawley, but they're pretty bad apparently. Oh yes, my player Steve Young won the Vanarama National Player of the Month whilst playing for my affiliate Stockport, which is always nice to see one of your players on loan actually doing a good job. And apparently Alan Atherton, I think his first name's Alan, my left back I sent out on loan to Warrington, has refused to have a loan extension take place down there, so we'll be coming back shortly, which will give me a choice of left backs, to put it politely. And finally we get to carry you straight off where you left the last match. I haven't been able to use that one for a while. We'll see if Frank Smith can live up to his billing, whether or not I'm going to have to pay the Swansea goalkeeper a lot of money to come and join me too. Frank Smith's career as a Wigan goalkeeper could be very short-lived if that happens. Oh, okay, it's a well-worked move. Pity the shot wasn't better, but it was well struck. Just happened to hit the goalkeeper. That's the second time in a row in the corner. James has got to the ball first and headed it. And I think, as I've mentioned previously, I have actually lived in Brentford and worked in Brentford. Not the greatest of areas, but I did spend a nice time living in a bed and breakfast pub for a while until the landlord was murdered. Yes, it does tend to sour your recollection of a place when the landlord of the pub where you're staying doesn't survive the experience, and you then get interviewed by the wonderful murder police and have police raids every other day because of the suspects some of their affiliation with the family and various other things. That was an interesting few months of my life. So drinking with people who rob banks for a living, would quite happily tell you they would kneecap somebody for you with a very small fee, and a couple of people that have been in jail for murder or manslaughter, or depending on who you spoke about stuff. But there was a lot of people that seemed to do, in looking at Brentford, who seemed to do a lot of less than salubrious things. And I ran into quite a few of them. Because in Brentford in the evening, there's not much to do apart from go to the pub and drink. As I was living in a pub, the pub was downstairs, I spent a lot of time in the pub drinking. Yes, I wonder if Brentford has changed since those days. Probably has. It's been a while since I was last in Brentford. And again, that whole part of West London was a horrible situation to be anywhere near because it was a traffic nightmare. Hounslow was having its argument with Heathrow. Everything was crowded. It was a nightmare to get in and out of each day. Public transport wasn't that great at the time, and apparently West London has changed over the last few years, to put it politely. Oh, well claimed, Smith. Nice to see you do something that doesn't immediately put you in my bad books. Not entirely sure if the big hoof upfield there was particularly useful, but nice tackle, Perez. Struth, ref, he went through my player. Okay, this is not looking great. Yes. Oh, defender, well may you hold your head in your hands. Yes, okay. I'm now thinking bad thoughts about Brentford. And still remembering some of the people that I worked with who lived in the area. Kuldip and Tala Chandaliwell, Nadia Maris Murray, and a whole bunch of others. It's a strange place, West London. It's a mixing ground for all sorts of people and cultures. They're definitely an interesting bunch with, well, if you get people from different cultures all working together, you tend to get their stories, and some of the stories are truly amazing. Like one of the guys I worked with, oh, great defensive work there, guys. One of the guys I worked with, he got stopped for speeding, doing 60 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour zone, and he put his foot down to try and get away, and they stopped him, and the first words out of his mouth were, "What's the point of having a fast car if you can't go fast?" Which the police didn't seem to appreciate, though they did tend to find him, he was young and relatively harmless, so they did find him quite amusing. Don't think they'd prosecute him too hard, but there were definitely some characters that lived around the Brentford area. I do remember a lot of fun times. However, I'm not thinking of fun times when I'm losing to the Toads 1-0 on their 23rd in the division and I'm in the top 2. I'm not looking particularly like scoring either. Yeah, that shot was only 6 yards wide. McGlade isn't handling his starting role in the centre of midfield very well for fitness. Yes, he's already saying he wants to be subbed off. It's not even half time. Okay, this has gotten to the point where a change is needed. Now, Riley, you go there. Perez, you're the right back, you're the left back. However, you're coming off, and I'm going to put Wilson on there. Now, McGlade, I want to come off anyway. We'll put Brewster on there, even though he's not exactly has a better role situation. Now I need a forward to go up front. And that would be Jamie Slaughter. Right, let's see if this formation does anything. I've never tried it before. Like I say, it just turned up at the Steam workshop. And I looked at it and thought, I've got the players for that. Oh, that might be a fun formation to play. And because I'm lousy at actually designing tactics, I do tend to use other people's. So I thought at some point I'd give it a go. And I've got James and Riley as a solid central defensive partnership in theory. I've got Stroith, good enough fullbacks in theory. So I thought the extra attacking option might be interesting to see. Of course, it could be complete and utterly terrible, and I could suddenly find myself going down 5-0. Well, Smith certainly isn't uninspiring like Pete was in goal. Of course, the upside if I start using this formation more is I can actually... Oh, Stroith, he fell over. I can actually go and buy myself a striker, which is always good fun. Because strikers are normally some of the most fun people to go and buy. Well, Smith hung in the air a long time, trying to look good saving that. No, apparently I'm still not going to get an attack. Well, that split the defence perfectly. I wouldn't mind seeing this formation going forward. It would make a nice change to be able to see what it looks like from that perspective. That's a good ball. That's a decent first time cross considering he was stretching for it. That really isn't what I'd call an attack. But Wedderburn stopped going backwards, turned round and looked for help up front. Yes, and put some effort in and chase Wedderburn. Well done. Seriously? You're just going to let him get to the ball? Well, okay. This is not working out as well as one might have hoped, but... Struth, the ball rolls straight across the area. Considering my team has given them more options in attack, I haven't seen anything that vaguely looks like an attack up to this point. Playing very pretty passing football, but again, nothing that vaguely looks like an attack right up to that moment. I can't believe Turner beat the goalkeeper to the ball. Not unimpressive, that one. Good cross by Wilson. I don't think the goalkeeper could believe Turner actually got to the ball before him. Midfield is definitely suffering for fitness. Just a matter of can we do something useful in the last 8 or so minutes. Shot. Oh, good ball. Oh, a lucky deflection as well. Hadn't been the deflection, that wouldn't have gone in. And they're certain the goal should, Brentford think the goal should have been allowed for offside. That was a good ball, but yeah, he hit the Brentford player's feet with the ball and it deflected into the net. That is interesting. The through balls are kind of interesting with this formation, I must admit. Nice try, Chamberlain. A bit more creative than the usual free kicks, I take. Question is, will I hold on for the last 90 seconds? Well controlled, Cartwright. That was skill like that. You could be a Wigan player. If I keep with this formation, I might have to move Wedderburn about because I don't like the way he plays so deep with his back to the goal all the time. It's not exactly his strength. Well, once again, did just enough to win. Nothing particularly impressive about it, but will be complimentary as they got to use a new formation. Oh, and what you know, I'm in first place on points now, with the same amount of games played. Always nice. Smith, that's a professional debut for him. Oh, fair enough. And what's the press conference say? Okay, nothing particularly thrilling or interesting. Turner was on form. And they have accepted my offer for the Swansea goalkeeper. I'll see if I can get his feet. You can have that. Yes, I will live with that. Minimum free release clause. He's certainly not getting those. But I'm willing to always make sure that's down. That's not happening. That's not happening, and that's not happening. Well, okay. Apparently I'm not going to get the Swansea goalkeeper. Well, Frank Smith is going to get the chance to shine and impress me. But that's going to be it for this one. As always, I hope you enjoyed to one degree or another, and hopefully I will see you down the road.